Check one. What up, though? Welcome to another episode of Mentally Ill with Dez Cortez. Of course, I am Dez Cortez, and usually I'll be like, and to my right, my own dog. But if y'all looking for Mr. Hayes, he out and about at a concert tonight. He had to do his thing, relaxing, enjoying his time with the fam. So I'm hoping he have a good time. And shoot, I'm fresh off work, as you can see, hands still dirty, still chilling, but also super excited. You know what I mean? I'm super excited because my Detroit Lions today just stumped a hole in the Green Bay Packers. As white people just start talking, I get nervous when that happens. Just when that means something. When you just hear
it sound like court. I'm like, you going to court?
Just hear white just like, hold on, don't give me no time. Right. It's just a real quick story, bro. Like when I used to, and I talk about this a lot at some point, but I used to be like a liaison with defense attorneys. So, you know, I used to work with them. I'd be around. I'd be in court with them. We talk about the cases all because I was able, you know, to say things to the customer or to the
client.
That they couldn't say.
Right. Like, so, man, come on, you fucked up. You ain't fucked up.
You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, baby, bro, you need to do this, or you should do this, you should do that, you know, stuff. Because the lawyer, basically, they only supposed to tell you what supposed to happen. You know what I mean? Like the best thing for you. So your lawyer gonna probably tell you to snitch. You know what I mean? But then he gonna have his liaison tell you like, think about it. You know, think about your family, different things like that, depending on what happens. So that's a deep part about that. And listen. Also, too, voice in the darkness. I'm gonna need you today, Doc.
No problem. I am.
You already know, because you already know with my ADD, I just go off on a tangent and forget the basis of what I was saying. So. Oh,
okay, good. We go tangent together.
So no, man, I need you to be able to be like, no, man, you were talking about.
Like bring you home.
Yeah. All right. So when I'm like, ding, I'm gonna look at you. I'm like, dog, you was talking about it.
What'd you say?
Exactly. It's gonna be one of them.
Right.
But what was I talking about though? Like I was just saying, I was talking about a story, wasn't I?
Yes, about you was the liaison between the client.
Yeah. Okay. So dang, dog,
it worked that quick.
Yeah, it would have, because I wouldn't remember. But anyway, let me start before I forget again. So I used to sit there, man, and I swear, like anytime I would go to Oakland County courts, like it would really feel like almost like death when you walk into there. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
damn,
like it
death?
would feel like, bro, like I would be scared, and I'm not even going on trial.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like I'm going home after this, but I would be like nervous and scared for them people, man. And they would be giving people time in like months. Like, yeah, you get 38 months or you get 56 months. And they'll just be like, it don't sound like, you know what I mean? And then they'll get in the box like, and by the time they realize what's happening, they on their way to jail. Dog.
Say no to Christmas.
Say no. They on their way to jail, man. But that's just something I saw there. But I got a whole series based on that, which we'll talk about another day. But today, since I'm here by myself, I'm gonna answer the questions that the hard questions that people ask me when I talk to them about where I'm at in my journey right now.
Okay.
So this is going to be pretty interesting.
We taking phone calls?
We are taking phone calls.
So give us a call at 810-560-0658, 810-560-0658. And just in case you went to Cass or Renaissance, 81, okay, that's the number.
Man, why you talking about it? Look, I got a whole family full of people from Cass, boy. They going to be on you. They going to be calling in 1 minute.
Then forget.
Hilarious, man. But yeah, so like and I might lose some friends, you know what I mean, because my whole life has changed. So we're gonna start from the beginning. Okay, so the night that my life changed forever was a pretty benign night. I mean, you know, normally I was tired. I laid down, and something happened to me that had definitely never happened to me before, that's for sure. Something that I even think was possible. But getting to that, and I'm gonna break it down for everybody. So getting to that, I used to have these feelings in the middle of my forehead. And I compare the feelings to a way that you feel when you got on some glasses that's not the same prescription. I mean, that's not your prescription or whatever. Like, it doesn't hurt, but it's like a very, you know, sensitive feeling. It's a awkward feeling, irritating type feeling. And I would get this real, and it would be throbbing. And I really didn't know what was going on, but the only way I could sleep was like I used to have to like put my head like up under my pillow. And like almost in like not right, like the top of me in the fetal, basically. Like that's the only way that I could go to sleep. So a friend of mine that I had told this before, and let's just say this was 9 months before what happened. So a friend of mine said, you know what, I think you need to not stress about this medically. She said, some people say that's quote unquote your third eye opening. And, you know, I had heard of the third eye, but I didn't know nothing about it. Like, you know, and I definitely didn't think like it was something that opened in that way. Like, I really didn't know anything about it flat out. So, okay, boom, let it go, played it off. She asked me if I meditate, and I said, I would try at times, which would be like once or twice in my life. But those recent times that I tried, that pulsating feeling in my head was so bad, like I couldn't do it. I couldn't concentrate. It just wouldn't work. So I just stopped doing it. This whole year, let's just say about 9-10 months, I had stopped drinking completely. And that was the first time that I had ever did it. I've been drinking damn near on a daily since I was probably about 14 years old, 15 years old. So I was drinking before that, but like, you know, drinking a lot and wanting beers and wanting it was, you know, 14, 15 time. So I had never been that long without anything. And I was broke as hell at the time, really, so, you know, I wasn't smoking no weed. So I was pretty much the purest that I had ever, you know, been since I was a kid. And but I wasn't thinking about that, you know what I mean? I was still there. But I'm laying down at night, and I'm just laying there. And this seriously deep black, like I have never seen before in my life, started to almost like crawl. and like blocked my vision. So, kind of like a mist or like but it was more like a movement, kind of like I don't know if you ever seen like ooze or something like that. It was, sort of like that, kind of what you would think would be creepy, but I wasn't creeped out by it. Like I was creeped out about none of this, which if you would have told me that was something that would happen to me, I would have definitely told you that was something I'd be creeped out about. But at no time in this whole ordeal was I ever scared. So as this black crept over me, I just felt like I was, going to sleep, and I was really tired, and it was like telling me to go to bed. But and that's when it happened. I literally saw a matrix come out of my forehead, which I didn't call it a matrix. I didn't think about it as no matrix at that time. I felt as if what I was seeing was a universe. The black was so dark. It was so vast. It was so deep. The things that I was seeing were like made of light, but they were far away. They were close. They were in all these different places, and I knew exactly what was going on. Like, it wasn't like I knew it because it had to be. Like, it was nothing else that this could have been. First of all, it definitely wasn't a dream. It felt realer than me sitting here right now. I've never had that before. I've never had anything felt realer than the real that I know. I felt like I should have been there more than I even should have been in the bed. Like it was a place that I was for sure and that I was supposed to be. And one of the first things I remember, and at the time I didn't know what was going on, is I remember all these hands, and they was just waving at me. Some was far, some was back, some was big, some was small, but just all these hands was just waving at me. And I didn't know if they were waving goodbye. I didn't know if they was waving hello. I didn't know what they was waving. I couldn't hear anything really at that time. And after that, I kind of want to not necessarily talk about that right now. That's some things that happened after that I don't know if I'm prepared to just say. But let me just tell you, that was the night that I understood that it was something a lot deeper going on than what I knew. And I'm extremely thankful for it, because if it hadn't happened to me, I would still be thinking the way that I was thinking. And a lot of the decisions that I had to make that were truly important would have been different. And I see how they would have been different if I wasn't doing what I was doing. Like, it allowed me peace for the first time. For real, I didn't understand what peace was. It allowed me and showed me the love that I have for myself, which I knew would never be the same. And it also took the feeling of loneliness or being alone away from me forever. I knew that I would never feel alone. And one of the things that I'm not, that I said I wasn't going to talk about yet, and I probably will, especially when we start getting with some pros, is the ancestors also came to speak with me and share with me some things. But me understanding how that all works as far as the ancestors go, that was the real revelation. That was the real point where I understood what my purpose was. And, I went through a lot of, things in my life. I've been diagnosed with PTSD. You know, that's what this is about. But I never felt like that. You know what I mean? Like I had, what was I saying? I was talking about what was I saying? I was diagnosed because.
Finish the sentence.
No, you wasn't listening, man.
I was. Finish the sentence. What you
I
said.
I'm diagnosed with PTSD, so I understand
how things can sound.
Oh no, I understand having bad things happen to you or something. Like, I don't know what I was saying, man. See, man, you're supposed to be on your job, man. You know my mind messed up, man. That's what the show about.
Your mind is not messed up.
That's what the show. Right. It just don't work the same way.
There you go.
Right, not messed up. I mean, I definitely don't think the mind messed up, but just having that understanding that helped me understand a lot of things, which also opened me up to a lot of things, which is getting into why people ask me. So one of the first questions was, what happened that night, quote unquote. And I just told you, basically, other things happened that night, but it was beyond real. I remember saying to myself, like, this just not a dream for sure. You know what I mean? Ain't no way this a dream. And I said, okay, so you know how people say they pinch themselves to get out of a dream? I would like open my eyes and like rub them. And when I did, I could see, you know, regularly, and then that same black would just eventually creep. And this is how different things change. Because I was going into it and out of it because the realness of it. It's like, even when I thought about this, like if I ever thought about this happening, I wouldn't think you can just jump in, jump out. Like it was a door that you could just, so I guess I was playing with it at first. Like I was going in and out just so I can really say, damn, like this is really real. Like this is, you know, and man, that was one of the things that just let me understand too, that everything that I was doing also was supposed to be happening to me at that time. And, okay, I knew what I was talking about. So what I was saying about, so I grew up with a lot of turmoil, different things like that, but I also grew up with ass beaters. Like my whole family, like especially, and they mostly the women in my family, ass beaters. Like I don't remember too many days I went without getting no whooping, dog. Like me and my brother, like my mama, wow. She was like Pootie Tang with that belt, my nigga. Like she was tearing us up, dog, all the time. Like my daddy, not so much, but my mama, man, she used to be tearing our ass up. And like the women in our family, like they known for that. Like they was real tough on us. And then in church, you know what I mean? You spare the rod, you spoil the child. I'm thinking if I ain't whooping my child ass, you know what I mean, that I'm not a good father. And that's just how I was raised, you know, and that's just what I felt like or whatever. But when this peace came to me, after the ancestors came to see me, I understood the importance of not raising my kids in fear. From there on in, I hadn't spanked my children. You could not tell me a few years ago that I wasn't going to be still spanking, you know what I mean? Like at least until they certain, you know what I mean? Until they get a certain age or whatever, like they going to get it. How else they going to learn? How else they going to be this? And I see the change in my kids when it's in love. But there's something that I would have never done if I hadn't understood what they were telling me. And what they were telling me was find who you are, which you know, which they told me I already know. Find who you are, be who you are, we with you, and we about to show you a bunch of things. So that was the beginning of that. So that was that night. What happened since then, like I said, like those type of things, I just moved with a different purpose, way less stress. Like, I mean, like, way less stress, which has helped me make some good decisions and not make them in fear, which a lot of it was. And that in itself is amazing. going forth into a life where nothing in my life changed. You know what I mean? Like I ain't getting no extra money. This didn't happen. I was still in the same situations, but the way I felt about it, the way I handled it, what was going on in my life at that time totally changed. I started to understand that the reason that we are where we are is because something that we need to learn, place that we need to grow. The only thing is that we have to do it ourselves. And it has to be inner you. There's no lying to the inner you. So, thank you, man. So, I was talking about getting better, right?
Right.
So,
there's no way to get the better is in the inner you.
Right. No way. Just you gotta search for and get the better out of the inner you and keep getting better and keep getting better. And that's what sets you up for the future and what you need to know. And the thing about this is, too, as I go forth into what I believe and what I've learned, because I just started studying and recently it opened up my mind and started studying new things. Another thing that I hope I can get through this, but another thing that changed on, because I was so into the church that everything was of the devil that was in the church. You know what I mean? So everything, like a motorcycle gang is the devil. If it was in that, if you was, I don't know, anything. If it didn't have nothing to do with Jesus, then it was of the devil. So that's how I rolled. Like, for real. Like, I really not thought it was necessarily the devil, like, but I thought it was bad. And it had some type of connection with the devil. You know what I mean? But when I first started teetering off is when I really heard a bunch of people in my church talking about masonry and the devils and demons in it and Satan, this and that, and this and that. When I got older, I got the opportunity to become a Mason. And I stepped out and I did. I became a Mason, even though I was taught that it was a this and it was a that. And when I realized, I'm like, the things that I was taught was so wrong, because people have no idea about the history of the Masonry, and people have no idea that everything about Masonry starts with the Bible. You know what I mean? Like, and that's, you know, and that's even different in what was happening at that time. But just to see what really was differently from what I was told, that was one of the first instances where I found out that maybe I could be lied to. So as I opened myself up and started to read more and think more, I started learning a lot of things. And one of the questions was, like, what are you studying? Right now, I'm concentrating on what was happening pre-Bible. So I'm now studying all the, like the Numialish, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Epic of Gilgamesh, all of them, the tablets of Thoth, all that. So I'm studying these things to see if I can get a real understanding of where we are right now. And I even had people say, why would you want to read anything or get information from anything other than the Bible? And I thought like that for a while, for real. But then let me show you why I didn't. One of the things that after I had the ancestors come to me was I went on the internet to see if this had happened to anybody else. Like, what was going on? Like, if anybody saying anything about I just wanted to make sure, like, I wasn't
going crazy.
Yeah, like, if anybody else and I found hundreds of people.
Dope.
All over the world, all different type of people, saying they had this same type of experience and that they were changed for the better after that experience. All talking the same things. All of them met the ancestors. You know what I mean? All, like, you know what I mean? And these are people eating different things, thinking different things, growing up different ways, all over this world, who are sharing these experiences. And think about the people who have them, who wasn't. or who wouldn't share them. So that also led to me to believe that I was on to something. And then I started understanding that like why Indians have the dot on their forehead and different things like that. So I'm like, man, these things are ancient teachings that people lived off before the Bible. And why wouldn't we want to learn them? Why wouldn't we want to see what happened before? Why wouldn't we want to? And just the closed-mindedness of that is the reason why I have to just say what I've been learning and what I've learned. And another thing is I vowed that I wouldn't get all my information from one source, period. And nothing in life. I never get all my information from one source. So this is what I do. If I read something or hear something from somebody, I'm going to go research that. I'm going to see it from 4 to 5 different people who don't know each other, people who never been around each other. And I want to see how they feel about those things or what they learn from those things. And then I put together what I believe is the truth based on what, let's say, 6 or 7 different, maybe even archaeologists. Even if it's a professional, I do 3, 4, 5, because you just never know what one person is thinking at one time. So everything that I'm about to say that I believe, I have studied on like numerous levels. Like I have not just listened to somebody say something and be like, yep, that's it. Like, no, like I really went to see if I can find these answers in different places, which the internet makes that easy because they got all the scrolls on there. You know, it ain't nothing. It's not a secret. And that's what I want you to know. Like these things are not a secret. They're actually screaming out to you. And once you get it and once it happens to you, you're going to see how it's screaming out to you. You just haven't heard it yet. You just haven't heard it yet. So, what was I talking about before I said that? Man, it ain't.
I'm not a good backup.
Yeah, I don't think you are no more.
Not right
now.
Not
But that's why. All right, so that's why, because I can just talk about all these questions forever. But I'm trying to get through them and stay on track. But
because you're on the 4th one now, right, or 3rd?
The 3rd one.
Yeah, okay.
Well, 3rd and 4th can kind of be one together. You know, cool. Kind of. All right, and then I'll go to the next one. Okay, what did the early tablets say? All right, so this is about to be very hard for a lot of people to even wrap their minds around. But here's what it said happens in a nutshell. And these explanation of what was happening is not just coming from one source or one place. The great thing about it is these things were written 10,000, maybe even 20,000, years ago, but people in different parts of the earth were saying the same things that were going on, and their writings were the same stories. So this is why I take a hand of that. The Bible was written in one place by people who wrote the Bible 1,000 years after Jesus had died. And not to mention, the people who you think wrote the Bible didn't. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Jesus, they didn't write nothing. They were illiterate. They couldn't. They were workers. They were illiterate. They couldn't. People wrote that for them years later and passed it on to us and made us take our divinity and put it on that, which I never believed was cool. Like I really did. And then these same people go on to murder hundreds of millions of people for not converting to the same thing that they were doing. And they were doing this all in the name of their God. Not to mention, they would have slave ships having church right above where they would keep the slaves in the bottom of the bows. And we have these wars where we killing millions and millions of people, but we doing it in the name of the man that they called the Prince of Peace? That don't make sense to me, dog. Like, that don't make sense to me.
It don't.
At all. And it shouldn't make sense to anybody else, but I'm just going to tell you how my mentally ill, quote unquote, mind works. I can just tell you how I think, because obviously it's not right, because the majority of people don't. So I'm just going to tell you how my mental mind thinks. I can only do that. So, all right, here's what it say. The earth. Nah, I ain't gonna even, all right, I'm just gonna go with the quick story. The earth was here. There was a large war in the galaxy not far from here. All right. We know it now. It has the 7 sisters. We know it now as the Palladium Galaxy. But there was a war there. The people started to leave their area and go to see if they could find other places where they could be. They saw Earth. It was beautiful. It was one of the places that they could be. So they started to come to Earth. They started mining. They started to do other things. Now, these now, when I say aliens, like, I want you to take out your mind what the media has told you about aliens and different things like that. Any real facts, hardcore evidence of the aliens that we know of is they were basically not just like us, but they were like this body, like this type of body, 2 arms, 2 legs, like that's kind of like universal. Now it's different colors, different sizes, different everything, but the 2 arms, the head, like those seem to be across the universe the ones who end up growing to what they need to be. So they're here, they're mining. So these are, just imagine us, so like thousands and thousands of years in the future, like from how far we've come from, from people. Paul Revere was just taking mail. No, not who was that? Was that Paul Revere? Who did the Pony Express? Yeah. He was just taking mail, not a few hundred years ago, like on a horse. Right. Now we got emails. I can send you some mail across the world right now in less than a millisecond. So imagine how far we came in them hundreds of years. So imagine just how far we would be in thousands and thousands of years. So these people had information, that we just didn't have. First of all, we wasn't even here yet. But okay, let me keep going. They came down here, they were mining. Now, it was some worker beings too. All right, now, stereotypical wise, I hope I don't hurt nobody's feelings with this, and I can't even remember the name of the beings, but I'll put it all in the chat. And I'm also put in there people who I want y'all to listen to from all across the world, like, different aspects of things, saying and stuff. But, damn, what was I talking about for that? Man. So, all right. I know people be getting mad at me, dog.
No, you on. You see.
All right, so the worker beings, and I can't remember their names, but they would come down. They would say, "We will work the land. We'll do this. We'll do that. But then you'll give us a piece of the land." So it wasn't like they were slaves; they were just worker beings. But they were known like as a worker race, like worker beings. So stereotypical wise, they was like the Mexicans of the universe. You know what I mean? Like, we know Mexicans for having great work and working well and doing the work and being like the workers as far as the stereotype goes. That's who this race was. And they were here. They had been here for too long, and they were saying that they were tired and they needed to get what they deserve, you know what I mean? And they wouldn't work no more. So what they did, long story, we'll get into names and all that. I'm just going to tell you what they did as a whole. So what they did was say, there's a being on this planet, which was, I think they said Homo erect. No, not, it was beyond Homo erectus. We Homo sapiens. I think it was Homo sapien. And they said, what we going to do, it's not smart enough. So think about this. A gorilla, something like that, they saying it's not smart enough, but we going to add our little essence to it. We going to tweak their DNA, and we going to have them just smart enough to do the work. So what they did was they started to genetically, literally make us. And it sound crazy, right? But when you read the information in here that was written tens of thousands of years ago, it'll tell you the same things that we're just learning now. Like they're talking about the telomeres. They're talking about that's really shows how long you can live, different things like that. It shows.
The telomeres?
Telomeres. That they put a cap on our, and I might not be, telomeres. Telomeres, right there. Those, yeah. It shows. Now, and then I won't please y'all research this stuff. Everything I say, please research it. And like I said, I'm still learning this too, so I might not say everything right.
Spell telomeres for the people?
Man, I can't spell nothing. That's the last thing I'm going to be able to do for you. Tyler. No, that's the last thing. But I know it. They TOMUL. They basically, show the length of life that you can have.
Got you.
There were two brothers, Inky and Lil. One of them was about making them do the work and everything, and this is our world. And then one of them fell in love with a human, basically. You know what I mean? Like, they're more than what we present them. You know what I mean? Like, they're more than workers. They have our essence in us. They are intelligent now. Like, we can't treat them like that no more. Bigger brother ain't like that shit. So that's when the great flood came into play. Now, every single last place on this earth where we go back and see any type of old artifacts or passed down history ever talk about the great flood. And that gets real deep, but everything that I'm telling you is not just in one place. So I'm putting everything together from the different ones and just trying to accumulate it all in one thing. Now, tons of things happen, whatever. They see that humans are getting intelligent, and they wipe them out, blah, blah, blah. They come back and they start to rebuild and rebuild. So this Earth had already been way farther along in intelligence. So even though we talk about the telomeres, like, they're now just seeing that ours have been capped. They talked about adding this gene to us that makes us worship and follow, which are different from any other animal. They talk about how long it would have taken for us to evolve from a chimpanzee, who was our closest DNA, 98% or something like that. How long it would take. Millions and millions of years, or a million years or so more. Like, we're way further along faster than we should have if you take on how the earth has come to pass. And there's tons of stuff in that too, but if you look at any archaeologist, if you look at what any college studies, they'll tell you the same thing about the times. If you look at what the Aborigines have about their time and different things, if you look at the Mayans, if you look at all those things, you'll understand that a lot of these things people saying why couldn't that happen? And people don't know the same pyramids that are in Africa are in South America, Mexico, those areas. People don't know that it's pyramids in Alabama, everywhere, and they're all aligned to the same constellations. Now, you're gonna tell me people thousands and thousands of years ago knew what they couldn't even travel at that time like that. Like, they knew that each other was doing these certain things all across the world. No, it couldn't happen. It couldn't have happened like that. There had to be some type of universal things that was happening at this time. And those things like make sense. Like we are now finding those genes. Like we are now seeing all those different things.
So when you say we seeing those things, are you saying that we physically seeing it, or research is coming about?
Scientists, we're just getting to the point where science has caught up with some of the things that they're talking about in the scrolls. So if you're looking at the scroll, let's say 200, 300 years ago, you like, this sound like fantasy fairyland. Right? So different things like this, like they talk about coming down from the ship to the earth and talking about the humans who was there running to attack them. He said, I held out my wand and the humans all stopped as if they were stone and was frozen, right? And you say, that sounds like some fairy tale shit. Like, come on, man. Did they really? And we have that right now. We have a machine right now that if they turn it on, it's, what is it called? The active denial. Oh. Active denial, something, whatever. Active denial, something. But look it up.
You gotta take better notes. Go ahead.
Look it up, man. I'm just going now. So
I got you.
If you look up this active denial, in which our military owns, it's a non-lethal force that really goes through like the first few layers of your skin, and it makes it feel as if you're on fire. Non-lethal. Yeah. So they got all these people and they standing there and they turn this thing on, and all these people just run like they can't take it. Nobody can take it for no amount of time. So they had these type of things, but it just looked like to them it was things that was like way past. But when you really like break down all these things, like it was the same stuff that we had. If you look at hieroglyphics, this motherfucker's in hieroglyphics with tablets, bro. It's hieroglyphics with airplanes, all different other type of flying things. Like we don't. Why would we not look at what our ancestors was trying to show us years and years? Like why would we not?
I think
how we got to that point.
I think because the blind leading the blind. The people who we call our slave masters, they didn't believe it. You know what I mean?
But you know what though?
But somebody knew something.
I think they did. Well, not all of them, but
hell no. But somebody was just as gifted.
They did, and they used it to make sure that they stayed in power and keep the money, and that's really what it is. But let's just keep going, man. Let's just keep talking. What do you know about the aliens? That's how I basically was saying that. And they're really just all right.
Another creation.
They just live someplace else. You know what I mean? Like literally, and they just more advanced. They got ways to travel from here and there and here and there. I mean, swiftly. Like, and that shouldn't be crazy because we sending people up in the air now.
But they come right back down though.
Yeah, but they come right down. But in a minute, we gonna be gone. We going back to the moon in a minute. Then we gonna get past that and past that and past that. I want you to look at certain stuff though. And then this is kind of getting off track, but I don't look. They just letting people listen and read these things. The black box video from the trip to the moon. First, you will hear, and I think what is it, Buzz, right? Buzz, that was Buzz.
Buzz Lightyear.
Man, that's what he named. That's what,
right. That's what he named that one.
Whatever. You hear him say. First, you hear him say, "Somebody's like, is something following us to the moon." He didn't stress it because he didn't want them to stop. And this is all in his what's the name? Like this is what he said. This is in his thing. But they just wouldn't let him read while he's alive. Whatever. So when they rolling through there and you hear him say, one or the other, you hear him say, "Look at those people in there. I bet they never get out of there."
Wow. I never heard it.
Then, man, and this is all like you can go on in there right now and look this up. Then they talk about it was black people watching them while they were on the moon. Not like black like us, but like black like your sweater. Like
things of that color.
Yeah. And they said that they were across the ridge and they was watching them as they was doing what they was doing. Now, you go back to these scrolls and they'll tell you like that they didn't only have them on Earth. They had them doing shit on Mars and they had them doing shit on the moon.
Right.
How did they know this? How did they even know what Mars, like how did they know what the constellation was doing, what was going to happen? Like they were able to do so much that we still can't even do to this day. And if you a motherfucker right now who's ever been to them pyramids and you going to sit there and say that some people just made that shit, you out of your mind. You out of your motherfucking mind. We can't even do that shit to this day, man. We can't even do that shit to this day.
That's crazy.
And we haven't even went down there enough to really see what exactly what's all down there. As above, so below. Yeah. They had so much going on underground. Like, man, this shit is like, it's crazy what they were able to do, what they were able to accomplish. And we're getting back to that point where we're able to open up for that. But we got to open up our minds, man. Like, we got to really see our power, man. Like, I don't think we ever, like, when I close my eyes at night, like, I want people to see that. Like, I want people to get into that meditation and see what it feel like to meditate, and just when it really, really changes your body, like when it really, really changes your mind, like when it really, really helps you, it's something that's there, that's free, that all you got to do is just breathe, and it's there. And we're a computer, basically. We're a computer, and you can look at this site and go to any university, read about this. We're a computer. Every single last atom in us has the photon. They have the ability to not only learn but rejuvenate themselves and get better. They also memory. DNA is nothing but memory files. Billions and trillions of memory files. That's all we are. With what they say is the junk DNA or whatever, we have a lot of information on there that they just wasn't able to understand and read, which they are now. But DNA can hold so much data that, like, you could put, like, just take all the terabytes of data that you can. I don't even know the numbers, but you can read up on it to get to the exact numbers. You can put all that on the DNA sample, like the size of like your pinky. Like, it's crazy how much information can be stored on a strand of DNA.
Oh, most definitely.
Like, and like that in itself should have you thinking more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that in itself should have you thinking more. So, what was I was talking about, okay, I went to the Strand. I'm trying to stay on point, dog. Okay, I went to the Strand. I went to the DNA. And I'm excited to talk about this stuff, too. I just know people are going to be on my ass. But I can't wait until they actually read about it, see about it, and then they won't feel that way.
Then they'll come back to you like, Dez, remember you said.
Yeah, there is. And I remember we was talking, they're going to act like we was talking about it all at the same time. Yeah. When they just played my ass. But this is something that I believe everybody is going to see.
Figure it out.
Yeah, and actually, I don't want to hurt no feelings, but Jesus Christ talked about this. And they even in the scrolls, they talk about when people would start thinking like this again. And it was in the age of Aquarius, which I think starts like next year. So it talks about just like this was already like planned. Like this was thousands and thousands of years ago. Like they already knew. Like they like, yeah, they gonna come up out of that shit in the age of Aquarius.
Wow. And
now you seeing all these people who understand this shit and willing to go find these old things and do this old, and do this stuff which they suppressed. And really, if they would just take the stuff in the Vatican, stored in the Vatican, and they would just allow people to know what's in there, it would change everything.
Yeah.
I don't think they feel like people could handle that.
No.
But they put people in this situation so they can't handle that.
Very
you know
true.
what I mean?
I agree.
They made people live in fear.
Fear, yeah.
People don't understand, bro. There wasn't even a hell in the Bible until like it wasn't even that long ago, dog. Like hell, like just came in the Bible. That Revelations and the apocalypse, all that, man. That stuff just got into the Bible.
Wow.
Okay,
Into the New Testament.
yeah, just got there. That's not no. Don't nobody else be talking about that hell and all that others like we that was put in there to make us scared, and that's it. Scared, like we couldn't do nothing else, and that we had to do all this stuff on earth right now to live later. And if you've ever heard any prodigy, anybody who's able to talk to the dead or transfer, you will hear them and they will tell you, no, people don't die. Like, you don't die. Okay, this body will die, it will go away, but your consciousness will stay. It's even science, and that's what I'm saying. All this stuff is science, and that's what I like too, because the science and the spirituality of things is joining.
Yeah.
And people thought like it was so far from the same. Like if you're a science person, you can't be spiritual because you're all about facts. You know what I mean? And then you all about faith over here. But when they understand that really it ain't really faith, it's really just facts, and it just it just work out that way. So it's easy to believe it.
Yeah.
And that's what all this is. All this fits together like a puzzle, and it's just going to strengthen everybody so they can understand exactly what the hell going on. But anyway, we talked about DNA, the heart. Unbelievable. So your heart is way more than a valve in a pump. All right, way more than that. Your heart actually has neural capability. Like your heart has some of the same things in your heart that's in your brain. Like it has memory. It makes decisions. Your brain asks your heart how to make a decision depending on how you feel about the thing. So if you down and out about this, your brain is going to do something differently than if you're excited about this, because your heart is telling your brain to handle this differently.
Wow. Never heard like that.
And people will see it, like, you know what I mean? Like they all coming out with it and, oh, this is what we get to see. And I'm going to show you a story, and I really want you to look it up, and you'll find that you can just Google any of this stuff. Not too long ago, they were doing a heart transplant on a little girl. One little girl had got molested and murdered. But they took her heart and they gave it to another young girl who was dying.
Right.
The other young girl started to have these nightmares.
Yeah.
About being abducted, molested, all that. They didn't know who they got the heart from. Like, they didn't know anything, so they went to somebody. Come to find out, man, this girl was able to remember.
Who did it?
Not necessarily who did it, where she was at, like what was happening, all that.
Yeah.
The man had told the girl something that nobody would have been able to know.
Right.
Right before he killed her.
Right.
The little girl knew exactly what the man said to her. He was so fucked up by it, bro. He confessed everything.
I mean, yeah, that's similar when you get blood transfusions.
Yeah. That's the, like, we're giving each other files. Like, that's exactly what's happening. Oh, for real, man. Oh, I got so much to talk about, man. Like, and I also too. Okay, y'all. Like, I know I kind of made this one boring, man. But
no, actually, you didn't.
But I want people to also too, before I go, because I only got a minute or so left. I want people to please look into what Jesus did when he leaves in the Bible from when he was 12 to when he was 32.
Yeah.
Please look at the historical facts of where he was at and what he was doing. A lot of things will be answered, and you'll be thinking a whole lot differently about the religion. Also, too, They took the women out of the situations. Mary Magdalene was married to Jesus. Not only was that, she was a beast. She had bread. Her last name, Magdalene, even means buildings, like fortresses. Like, she had money. Not only was she married to Jesus, she was married to John the Baptist. And John the Baptist was supposed to be the Christ before Jesus, but they murdered him. They cut his head off because he ain't banged some chick. And this is true, dog. They cut his head. So Christ, but you think it's a coincidence that Mary Magdalene was married to two of the most important people, religious, like period? Like, no. Mary Magdalene was a boss, bro. And people will never give her, she'll never get her just due. She wrote books, all that. Like, they ain't gonna never let people read. They not letting people read it. And these women will be so empowered by, like, you know what I mean? Like, dog, they took all that out of there for a reason to keep us in fear, because they knew how powerful the women was too. And that's why you see women taking over right now. They deserve it, dog. They've been shitted on for billions of years, dog, because they were scared of them. Flat out. Nigga, women was the pharaohs. Men was the kings. Women was the pharaohs. You better believe it. Women always ruled everything, man. The matrix, man, whatever. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm just blabbing today, but I want people to understand where I'm coming from and how I got there. Hit me up or come holler at me like y'all normally do. Stop me and say something funny. And I'll see y'all next week. And as I always say, do whatever it takes to find the God in you. See y'all next week.
That's actually dope. I'm just